Hello there, everybody. This video is about congruence flowcharts. How do we use a flowchart to kind of organize the information we need to prove that two triangles are congruent? That's what we're doing here in this video. Now, in the previous video, you hopefully learned that there were 5 ways to show that triangles were congruent. There was side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, and hypotenuse leg. Those are the 5 that we have to choose from. Nothing else works. Angle, angle, angle doesn't work. Right? That would actually work for similarity, but they could be different sizes that way. Side, side, angle doesn't work. I didn't do an example of that in the previous video, but trust me, it doesn't. It also spells a bad word backwards, so don't use it. Those two don't work. Any other combination of sides and angles doesn't work either, only these 5. Now, you might think, well, what about side, angle, angle? Well, that's the same as angle, angle, side. It's just backwards. Okay. What about LH? Well, same thing, right? It's just backwards. So again, just these 5. So the question is, here's the information that we're given. Are these triangles congruent? We know we've got a couple of right triangles here. We know that these two segments are the same. Now, these triangles, they also share this side BD. So that side, that segment is the same in each triangle. That side is the same in each triangle. So we also know that. And you know, these are right triangles. These are the hypotenuses of the triangle. This thing is a leg of these two triangles. That means we are going to use hypotenuse leg to show that these are congruent. So our plan is hypotenuse leg. So we need the hypotenuses to be the same. Those hypotenuses are AB and CB. So we'll say AB equals CB. We'll put a little oval around it to show that that's kind of one idea. H, hypotenuses, they are the same. L is for legs. BD is a side in one triangle. It's also a side in another triangle. And they're the same. So there's that statement. And that's all we need to do, because there's only 2 parts to our plan. Hypotenuse leg, there's only 2 parts. So that's all we've got to do. Now we've shown enough to say that the triangles are congruent. So we'll say triangle. Let's call this one ABD, right? ABD. Equals with a squiggle is congruent. Now the points have to be in the same order. I started with A, right? And A goes with C, so C. Then I went up to B, that goes with B. Then I went down to D, that's D. And there we go. And this is the only statement right now I'm going to have you justify. Eventually I'm going to have you justify all these statements. That'll be actually later in chapter 7. But for now, this is the only one you have to justify. We know that if the hypotenuses in a right triangle are the same and one pair of legs are the same, then the triangles are congruent. And that we abbreviate. You can either write out that whole sentence or you can just write HL, and that justifies our last statement. And that's our flow chart that organizes all the information we need to prove that those triangles are congruent. Let's look at another one. Okay, we know that these 2 angles are the same. We know that these 2 sides are the same. Now, we don't know that these are right triangles, so we're probably not going to use hypotenuse leg. Oh, you know what? Vertical angles are always the same. So I know that. Now, usually with these, there are 3 pieces of information you need, right? 3 pairs of sides, 2 pairs of sides, and a pair of angles. There's 3 here, there's 3 here. This one that looks like there's 2, but there really is 3 here too, because it needs to be a right. They need to be right triangles for hypotenuse leg. I didn't put that in the flow chart, but that is understood that for hypotenuse leg you need right triangles. So that's kind of a 3rd piece of information for this. We've got 3 pairs of information. We've got 2 angles. There's 1 pair of angles, another pair of angles, and a pair of sides. That means it's either going to be angle side angle or angle angle side. So for angle side angle, this side is between the angles. But this side would have to be here, and this side would have to be here between these angles in order to be angle side angle. So that means it's not going to be angle side angle because the side that you know are the sides that you know are the same are not between the angles. They're outside the angles. So that means it's going to be angle, angle, side. So that's our plan. Plan, angle, angle, side. Now, first part of our plan is A. It's an angle. We need two pairs of angles that are the same. Measure of angle X equals measure of angle Z. Put an oval around it. There we go. Another pair of angles. Now these two. Now we can't call these Y, angle Y, because there's 4 angles here at Y, this point Y. So we've got to use 3 points. Let's say the measure of angle XYW, XYW equals the measure of angle ZYV, ZYV. So that's the second part of the plan. The third part of the plan is a pair of sides that are the same. That's WY and VY. WY equals VY. Now I'm kind of staggering it like this just because I'm short on space. Normally I'd kind of write them all next to each other like these two, but I didn't have enough space to do that here. That's the only reason I'm kind of making it look like steps. You don't have to do that always. But now I've done all 3 parts of my plan. One pair of angles, another pair of angles, and a pair of sides. That means I've got enough information to say the triangles are congruent. Draw some arrows. Triangle. Let's call this one WXY. Doesn't really matter on the first one. Is congruent to triangle. Now I started with W. That goes with V, so V. X goes with Z, so X was next, so Z is next. And then Y is there in the middle. Those go together. Now again, this is the only one I have to justify, and it's really going to be the same as the plan. If you got the plan right, you're going to get this part right. Angle, angle, side is my justification. And there you go. All the flowcharts work essentially the same way. Remember, you're always going to use one of these 5 as your plan, and which one you use depends on the information you are given and that you can figure out. If that makes sense, get some help in class. If it doesn't, see you later. Bye.